Hey you guys, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be another little writing tidbit vlog kind of situation. I don't know what to call these guys anymore. But essentially I do these guys once a month and they kind of just encompass my entire writing mood of the month / any other things that I need assistance with and everything. Shout out to anyone who had commented on my previous writing vlog giving me tips and tricks for query letters and everything. Very helpful, very thankful for that, and I very much appreciate it. Now, as for October, just a little preface, sorry this video didn't go up on Saturday, as well as sorry for not having a video up on Wednesday. Unfortunately, my camera decided that we're not going to be in focus for one video, and then both my videos that I filmed were in focus, but super grainy, and I tried like 20 different ways to fix it, so I'm refilming the videos for this Saturday and Wednesday, and the video for last Wednesday, which was a book apocalypse tag, will be going up sometime early November because I have filmed that video a total of like 3 times in a month, so I'm not going to go for a 4th. But that is really all that there is in terms of videos, and right now let's just kind of hop into the actual vlog. So in terms of October updates, well, personal life-wise, my mental health's been dipping and diving, so it's been kind of hard to stay focused on like this novel. And as of recently, like a couple days ago, it's finally like taken a little bit turn for the better. So I've been feeling more like myself, and I actually did math. I did math. And I'm currently on chapter 29 or 30. Pretty sure 29, but because I have to finish editing that. But if I continue down this path until, I think probably next week, I should be done editing my first draft. And I can move on to my second draft. I'm really behind on my chapter breakdowns that I mentioned in my previous vlog writing diary thing. So I need to do those, but I'm thinking that if I can finish out all these in like the next 6 days, that'll give me like 3-ish days, 4-ish days, about-ish days to go ahead and finish, well, or do most of, if not finish my chapter breakdowns. I'm currently chapter 8 into the breakdowns out of chapters 36, so kind of a long ways to go. But I mean, once I get in the swing of things, it's not as like, it doesn't require as much focus as it does with the editing portion, because this chapter breakdown is like my notes and kind of compiling them, and after I've read through them it's pretty easy to like figure out like, oh right, I have this and this and this. But I'm pretty excited because that just means I can go ahead and join NaNoWriMo with my second draft, which I've never done NaNoWriMo before, never been told how to do it, so I don't know if I have to like actually join on the website or anything or how that's going to work. But I also don't do word counts, so I really have zero idea as to how this is going to work out for me, because word counts and I don't get along at all, like in the slightest. Like I prefer, if you guys don't remember, I did mine based off of like a chapter a week, so I would write an entire chapter a week and then do that. And then with word counts, they're doing it like word count a day, and I really don't know if I can do like, oh yeah, I have to write 4,000 words a day. Like I'm sure I can do it, but there are just some days where I'm like 200 words, because like sometimes it's really hard to get in the mood of it, or sometimes it's really easy and I kind of lose myself, so it just kind of depends. And I'm really nervous for the idea of going off of word counts even for a month. But I mean, I think I'll be doing vlogs for like weekly vlogs for NaNoWriMo, so you guys will see me and my struggles for a month. I'm really excited because I told myself that once I am done with the second draft, I'll go ahead and start edits for the third draft, which won't be as extensive. Surprisingly enough, it's not going to be as extensive as it is for the first draft where I did like color-coded pens, which by the way, it made sense in the beginning to do color-coded pens, but now that I am like 7 chapters away from ending, I'm just sitting here like, why did I choose color-coded pens? Why did I do phases? Because how I did it was one phase would be like the red pen where I go through like grammar errors, all the way into like character phases and like timeline things and like the whys and everything like I had mentioned before. Base idea, it was a great idea. Now I'm just sitting here like, I want this to be over with, but I can't. And it's been a struggle, but I mean, I'm almost 6 chapters done, so I might as well just like power through them and do the whole like 5 or 6 phases that I did before. But now my biggest worry is, well actually I have 2 big worries. And well, one of them is that I have decided to make one of my characters non-binary. I have always seen this character as non-binary, and I kind of want to incorporate that into the story and give their story a bit more fleshing out, as well as give more representation into the story as well. Because my friend, who's half of these characters also belong to her, has a character that is trans. So I've been doing a lot of research on how to write trans and non-binary characters, and I've asked a friend who is non-binary. I'll be asking hopefully a friend who is trans I mean, not hopefully that they are trans, but like I will hopefully be asking them to give me advice, and they are trans. And have been doing research on it, as well as like other things like blindness, catatonic depression, other things like the body and all the fun stuff that I don't want to do. And I have an entire tab about it in my OneNote because that's how obsessive I am with this. I'm pretty excited to go ahead and get into that, but I'm also really terrified because I have not seen a lot of literature with trans or non-binary characters. I bought a few books. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I posted about those books, and they were Beast by Bree Spangler, The Prince and the Dressmaker, which I don't think the main character is trans. I think they are genderqueer, but I mean, any kind of like assistance is helpful. And then I forgot the third one. Oh, When the Moon Was Ours by Anna Marie McLemore. But those are all involving mainly trans characters. And I looked through like Goodreads and everything to look for a good book with non-binary characters or a non-binary main cast, and all the reviews were essentially not that great. And the unfortunate thing for that is that, one, there's no representation, but also secondly, that means that representation in my personal genre, which is high fantasy, is non-existent. So that makes it really hard for me to go ahead and do that. So I've been going to like video games because I know Dragon Age has a trans character, as well as watching TV shows with non-binary and trans characters to go and help for that. But I do want to, but this is a high fantasy world and there isn't really a word for that, if that makes sense. I can't just go out and be like, oh, they're non-binary, when this world specifically doesn't have labels for sexualities and genders. So that's been kind of really tough for me to go ahead and do. So if you guys have any recommendations for like trans or non-binary characters or articles on how to write them, I would really appreciate that, because I don't want to mess this up. But also, just a foreword, any character that I talk about that is a different gender identity, different sexuality, it is part of their story, but I am not going into depth with this story, because as much as I would like to write a story about a trans character or a non-binary character or an asexual character and their backstory, or like how they became to that is not my story to tell. And as much as I love reading constant coming out stories and figuring yourself out stories, I like the stories as well where their identity plays a role in the story, but it is not the main thing. I like seeing them more normalized in this constant coming out, this constant, oh no, I don't know if I'm gay, I don't know if I'm X, Y, or Z, because it's not overdone, but we're starting to normalize that scenario more. And what we need to do is normalize them just living, essentially, because we have this portion of their life where they are finding themselves, and that is wonderful and great, but we don't have the portions of their lives where they are comfortable in themselves and can go ahead and go out into the world and show people who may not know about these identities or may not be open to them that they don't do anything differently besides for us. It's also very upsetting that these are only mainly contemporary pieces that have like any kind of coming out or any kind of living in society situations, because I think that high fantasy, it pisses me off when high fantasy novels don't do this. But it's like, you have this entire world that is literally for your creation. Why are you remaining within these genders, these sexualities? You can make an entire world on your own where these aren't taboos. These are accepted. There wasn't a struggle. This has always been. So I don't know why that hasn't been a thing, but it's also very frustrating as a reader to only see the binaries that's been going on in a lot of high fantasy, which is why I agree with my friend that bringing in both a trans and a non-binary character into this kind of forefront of my story would be a smart idea. As well as I have always seen this character as non-binary, and I think it fits. Like when I thought about it, the character was like, I think I'm falling more in line with this. So, but like I said, I would really love articles on that down below, as well as any book recommendations you guys would like to suggest to me that you have particularly enjoyed. I know there is a book coming out in May with a non-binary main character written by a non-binary author, so I will leave the links to that down below because I would really like for that to get more traction and to see more books like that come out in the future, and hopefully segue into books like that coming out for high fantasy novels. Like I said, leave those below. I sound like a broken record, but I would really appreciate them because I don't want to write something wrong when it was not my intention. I don't want to write a backstory essentially of them figuring things out, because that, like I said, it's not my story to tell. I wouldn't trust a heterosexual white author to write a story about a bisexual Filipina unless they had done the research on it, like Becky Albertalli did with Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. So I can't trust myself as a cisgender woman to write a story about a backstory about a non-binary character. So would really like those down below. But the other problem I have is finding an agent. Like I said, I want to start querying once I'm done with the second draft. And that's easier said than done because I know that a lot of, like, I've looked this up and they've mentioned a lot of, like, a lot of, like, subscription places, and I just graduated college. So, as well as I'm going to be getting a car soon and planning on moving out and traveling and all these things. And while I would love to prioritize a, like, $25 a month subscription to a website that I will probably check like once a week, it's not, I don't want to say not favorable or not smart. It's not at the top of my list exactly, because it's like I can understand if I would check this every day and I got a lot of information out of it and all that stuff, then I can go ahead and make sense to subscribe to a place $25 a month. But if it was like something like Amazon or Barnes & Noble where I frequent out, but it's not like somewhere that I go to every day, I can rationalize doing once a year, maybe once every few months. And I know my friend gave me a link to something because I know that's how Tomi Adeyemi got her agent. So I'll be checking that out once I'm done with the second draft and working on the third one. But I just would really like some suggestions on like maybe how other authors found their agents, or if it's like, if I have to buy a subscription plan, if there are ones that offer like some actual subscription plans and not just a whole blanket thing, because it's like, I'm a urban fantasy / high fantasy writer. I don't do contemporary very often, so I would prefer to have that niche specified, if that makes sense, before I go ahead and try to other things. So if I can just like find agents specifically for that little niche, that'd be great. And if you guys have any of those suggestions, because I have been panicking about this, I would really love that, like immensely. But I did take, I forgot the subscriber or the commenter's name. I'm sorry, but I will leave the name somewhere on the screen for you. I did take their advice into consideration in terms of like making sure the first page was down pat. I ended up, I cut out the entire prologue. Like I cheated a little bit because this idea for the beginning, like, portion of the book came to me in the middle of the night as I was like thinking about it. And I was like, I gotta write it down now. So I have like a full page written out for the next draft. But I took out the prologue, decided that I could find better ways to pepper in the information of this specific character, or like this like short little segment of this character's like life prior to the present day, better, like a lot in a better way than how I have did it with the prologue, which I think was a cheap way for me to do it. And I took in their consideration to make the first like line the strongest. So it like popped into my mind, and it's now the first line of it. And if you guys want like an excerpt of something of like that, tell me down below. I'll go ahead and leave maybe like a paragraph or something of the first excerpt on Instagram, or maybe I'll insert it in like my next writing vlog for you guys to see. Like I am a little concerned leaving it up there for possible plagiarists to see, because I have had my works plagiarized before, which is why I kind of am very hesitant to post any kind of stories on Wattpad, on other websites that aren't just like solely fan fiction. Granted, it was a fan fiction of mine that was plagiarized, but they took it down after I complained repeatedly. But still, not the funnest moment in my writing career, and it kind of took me for a slump for a while. because I was afraid of things like I couldn't share it with my friends because I was afraid that someone else would pick it up. Since this is just kind of like the second draft, and I'm sure this paragraph and that single line will be tweaked like 20 times over before and if. I know I should be talking about the end game as in when it gets published, but I'm a pessimist. So if it gets published, when it gets published, we'll just have a slash like on the screen, like if when, just to appease my friends, because I know that if they see this they're gonna text me like, not if, Therese, when, not if, when. But I know that that little segment will get edited and cut out and redone 20 times over before the final book comes out, so I'm not too terrified of like someone taking it, but at the same time I'm very hesitant. But if that's something you guys want, like say maybe if I do like an Instagram poll or something, or whatever have you, on like a specific chapter you guys want, a random chapter you guys want an excerpt on, to tell me and I'll find a way to post it elsewhere. But yeah, that's kind of it for October. Almost done with editing. I'm very tired. I don't want to see colored pens for a long time. Unless my editor is the one using colored pens, in which case. But yeah, I'm pretty much excited to get this done and start querying for agents and work on the query letter process, and hopefully I will have better news for you guys. But like I said, I would love your ideas or advice on anything via trans and non-binary characters, as well as agents and where to find them kind of situation. So other than that, that's kind of it for this video. I'll talk to you guys again next month, but if you want to see me a little sooner than that, I do have a Halloween-ish themed, one of 2 Halloween-themed videos that will be coming out this Wednesday and on Halloween. So if you guys want to go ahead and see those, subscribe to my channel. I upload every Saturday and Wednesday unless something happens, in which case please check out my Instagram or my Twitter. It is at @bookishtherese, and I will try. I tend to post updates more on my Twitter than I do my Instagram, but if I see that you guys are following me more on Instagram, I'll probably start incorporating both. But unless something happens, you'll see information there. And other than that, I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye!